Hi everyone, Linda here from ITTT, back this week with another live session. And this week's topic I'm very excited about. We're going to cover 15 travel hacks for TEFL teachers. Traveling and exploring new countries is one of the main reasons a lot of people decide to go abroad to teach English. And whether it's about exploring your new host country, your new home country where you're teaching, or then also other countries during your experience abroad, during your stay abroad. So, yeah, these are 15 hacks that work either way. So, either for your trip to your new host country, or then while you're traveling there and in other countries around that host country. I love traveling. I've been to around 35, maybe over 35 different countries. I've been living in Asia for the past 10 years and traveled around Asia extensively, but also Europe. I was born and raised in Europe, the US, and places there mainly. So, yeah, these are also some hacks that I like to kind of use, but I've also researched, current travel hack trends and things like that. So that's what we're going to talk about. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss any of our upcoming live sessions in the future. This is a weekly thing, right? If you're watching this for the first time, you might not know, but we do this actually every week. This place, this time, most of the time. And also want to mention that we do have a 30% discount code off of any TEFL or TESOL course from ITTT. So if you're not yet TEFL or TESOL certified, now's a great time and a great place also to start. So you get 30% off and off of any of the courses. We have a wide variety of different courses. You can check them out on the website. But yeah, you get this discount code. So what you can do is you can scan this QR code, or I also have a link for you that I'm going to share in the comment section. So we're live on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time right now. So wherever you're watching from, you will see this code in the comment section. So it looks something like this, or actually exactly like this. It ends with FB Live minus Linda. Then you know it's the right code, and this code will get you a 30% discount off of your TEFL course. And as you might know, a TEFL or a TESOL certificate sort of is the first step towards your adventure of teaching English abroad. So it's something that a lot of countries actually require for English teachers. So it's a necessary certification for many countries. If you don't have that, you don't qualify for a job there. You don't qualify for the visa, etc. There's other places where it's not a requirement, but many employers then still prefer hiring people who have this certification because it just shows that either you know what you're doing, right? You are a certified teacher. You're not new to all of this, and you're serious about it. So that's that. And also, let me know, guys, where are you watching from right now? Where are you at right now? What time is it there? How are you doing today? Let me know. Just leave a comment, and then we can jump right in. Yeah. So maybe first, real quick about me, if you're watching this for the first time, you're new to this, and I'm just going to make myself a little bit smaller so we can see the slide. But my name is Linda. I am doing many different things, which is one of the reasons why I love teaching English so much, because it allows you to do, many different things. So I'm a travel writer because I live abroad. I travel a lot, so that allows me to write about my experiences. I'm also a content creator. I love sharing my experiences on social media as well. I'm also a language teacher, so I teach English and I also teach German abroad, online, in class, all the different venues. And you can find my website at lindagoeseast.com. So if you're particularly interested in Asia, going to Asia for teaching, Korea, China, all of those places, this is a great place to start, lindagoeseast.com. And also at lindagoeseast on Instagram. Very active over there on all social media platforms, actually, at Linda Goes East, but mainly Instagram. I'm very active over there. Like I said, I'm originally from Germany and the US. My mom is German, my dad's American, but now I'm based in South Korea, and I've been based here for 8.5 years. So a long time already. Time really flies. Before that, I also spent some time in China working, also teaching. So all of these things. So that's a little bit about me. Also, I'm still waiting for you guys to let me know where you're watching from today. So leave a comment, let me know where you are, what time it is, and just how you're doing. How's everybody doing? Just want to check in with everyone. Then about ITTT real quick, why we're here. So I found out about ITTT actually because I was interested in teaching English abroad. So I Googled, as you do, TEFL, TESOL, all sorts of things. And I found ITTT. I liked what I saw. I liked what I read about it. I liked the reviews. And I was like, yeah, let me try and get this certificate. So ITTT stands for International TEFL and TESOL Training. You can find us at teflcourse.net. And yeah, after I took the course, I stayed in touch with ITTT and somehow ended up working for them then. And that's already been probably 10 years, around 10 years as well, 10 years, something like that. So also a long time that I'm already with ITTT as well. And ITTT provides high quality teacher training programs globally. All ITTT courses are accredited by reputable institutions, and they also meet British Council criteria, for example. ITTT is also an institutional member of IA TEFL and has an advisory board of experts. So that's one of the IA TEFL is a pretty reputable, renowned TEFL accreditation body. And graduates can earn credit-bearing certificates, and they're transferable to universities worldwide as well. So check us out, teflcourse.net, if you haven't yet. I know many of you watching are already TEFL or ITTT graduates. So yeah, appreciate you. And yeah, that is that. Let's see. Still waiting for you guys to let me know where you're watching from, but I'm just gonna keep that up. So let me know where are you watching from right now, what time is it there, and how are you doing? Let me know in the comments. I'm always curious about that. And then yeah, back to today's topic. So like I said, 15 travel hacks for TEFL teachers, a very exciting topic, especially for me because I love traveling. And like I said in the beginning, I think traveling and exploring new countries and cultures is one of the biggest reasons a lot of people decide to go and teach English abroad, right? You want to live in a different country, you want to experience a different culture. That's very exciting and important to a lot of people, and the main reason why a lot of people pursue this career. And so these 15 travel hacks are specifically targeted at TEFL teachers. So it includes basically your trip to your new host country where you're going to teach, but also then your travels during your stay there. So either in your new host country, travel hacks you can use there, or when you go outside the borders to explore nearby and other destinations. So you can use this for everything, basically, these hacks. And yeah, some of them, if you're an experienced traveler, some of these hacks might seem a little redundant, maybe. Just keep in mind that a lot of people, haven't traveled as much, maybe. So keep an open mind. And we're all in different stages of our journey, of our TEFL experience. So a lot of people have not been abroad yet or moved abroad yet. So these things might be new to people who are new to traveling and moving abroad. Some of you might know these hacks already, are using these hacks, so that's great. And if you at any time have any comments, any feedback to any of these hacks, or you want to bring in your own experience or just add some other hacks that you personally use, please feel free and share that in the comments. I'm always curious, always want to know. Always want to know more hacks, right? Hacks are great. They help all of us. They benefit. We all benefit from these hacks. So please share. And let me know where you're watching from right now. Still waiting for that in the comments. Let me know, guys. Just leave a hi in the comments too if you don't want to share where you're watching from. That's fine. Just let me know you're here. I can see people are watching, but I don't know who, right? So if you want to say hi, I'd appreciate that in the comments. Thank you. And then, yeah, we can maybe jump right in into our first hack of today. Let me take a sip of my coffee and then we can jump right in. Also, if you're listening to this as a podcast episode, thank you so much for the download. And if you didn't know, we always turn our live sessions into podcast episodes. So you can search for the TEFL and TESOL podcast by ITTT on whatever podcast platform you use, and you'll find us and you can take us with you on the go if you're interested in just audio only. So anyway. Hello, Pedro. Hi, how are you doing? Awesome. All right, perfect. All right, let's jump right in with our first travel hack, a very important one as well. A lot of people kind of forget to do that. That's why I put it first. I actually just started doing this a couple of years ago, especially during COVID and things like that. It's very useful. So, should I? Yeah, I'll just keep it like this for now. Okay, so hack number 1, make copies of important documents. Okay, very important. Digital copies and also physical copies. So photocopy your passport, your driver's license, and other essential documents and have them with you when you travel. Very important. What happens if you lose your passport, if you don't, if somebody steals your bag or something, or you just lose it, you have a copy. And so not only having a physical copy, but also create digital copies of essential documents. Again, like your passport, your visa, your boarding pass, employment offers, your contract, all of these things. During COVID, we had these vaccination things, the vaccination papers. So have copies of that. Physical copies, photocopies, but also digital copies, so that if you lose the physical ones as well, or if you travel, a lot of times maybe if you go to a country where it's rainy season and it rains like crazy and all of your stuff is soaking wet and your papers, they just get soaked, you can't use them anymore, then you have digital copies. So that's very important. And store these copies in a cloud, or share them also with someone that you trust, family member, a friend, to excuse me, to ensure you have backups in case of loss. What I also do, I always keep a digital copy in my Dropbox in the cloud, but also on my phone, just on my phone as a photo file. So you also have that. So that's very important. Yes, Pedro says, doing great, thanks you. I'm doing great as well. Thank you so much, Pedro. And Pedro also says, file every document that you believe is important. Exactly, yes. So just have copies of your documents. And, for a lot of people, it's like, I'm not going to need that. Why do I have to print this out? Everything's fine. Well, what if it's not fine? It's fine until it's not. And you don't want to be in a situation where you don't have any of your documents and it's just very bad. If you have a copy, you can easily go. If you lose your passport, you have a copy of your passport, a physical copy, a digital copy, you can easily go to your nearest embassy and get a temporary passport so you can travel back home. All of these things are just a lot easier when you have copies. So just keep that in mind. Hack number 1, make copies of important documents. Like I said, I didn't do this in the past. I just started doing this a couple of years ago. And yeah, it's important to keep your stuff together. All right. So that was hack number 1. So I hope you all are going to do that as well. Physical copies and also digital copies. That's very important. Let's look at hack number 2. So a lot of people, if you haven't traveled much yet, you might not know this, but you need to be aware of the 100 milliliters rule for liquids, right? So what does that mean? There's a rule for carrying liquids on flights, and this is typically for your carry-on. So not your checked luggage. Your checked suitcase can have liquids with over 100 milliliters, but your carry-on, you can only have like these little ones that are no more than 100 milliliters. And typically they need to be in a clear, see-through Ziploc bag or thing at the airport. So it depends on the airport. I've been at airports where, even at one airport I was recently, where they were like, you don't have to take it out. They have such advanced scanners that they don't really, you don't have to take it out anymore. It's fine. Other airports, they are not maybe that advanced. They don't have this new technology. You have to take it out. So it depends on the airport. Just be aware of that. The worst thing that could happen is that you bring something that's too big, your whatever it is, your liquids, any skincare, or also water, right? And then you just have to leave it there. You have to throw it away. They take it. You can't bring it with you. And if it's something that's really expensive, because skincare is expensive, and you have like a toner or whatever it is, it's over 100 milliliters, you have to give it to them. You have to throw it away. So just be aware of that. Another thing, if you can't put it in your checked luggage, or you don't have a checked luggage, you only travel with a carry-on, what you can do is using click and collect services at airports for items like perfumes or also medications to avoid confiscation. And a click and collect service is basically a service that allows you to buy the stuff like duty free online, and then you pick it up at the airport, and it'll come in like a duty free bag. And these items can be over 100 milliliters, and then it's fine. So if there's something like that you want to buy, just be aware of that. You can just order it and then pick it up at the airport. But it's just one thing a lot of people might not think about, the 100 milliliter thing, because we've seen this all, right? We're at airports and there's people in front of us at the security check, and all of them have to throw away their waters, or, they get angry because they have to throw away an expensive skincare item and things like that. So just be aware of that beforehand. 100 milliliters for liquids in your carry-on. And it needs to be in a clear little Ziploc bag. That was hack number 2. All right, moving on to number 3. Something also a lot of people don't think about, right? Bring a travel adapter, and bring the right travel adapter. So what does that mean? Different countries, and here's a small little image of all the different types of power plugs and things, but different countries have different outlets, power outlets. They use different plugs and things, right? So for example, here in Korea, they use this type, which is what? Oh, this is too small, I can't see it now, but is it type E, maybe? So these ones, whereas in the US, they look very different, right? So if you bring something from the US to Korea, for example, it wouldn't fit, because in Korea you use this. So research before you go what kind of power outlet, what type of plugs they use in this country, and then buy a travel adapter. They also sell travel adapters that literally have every single option. Oh, I should have put mine out. I have one, and you can press different buttons, and then the different plugs come out depending on what you need. So there's one for UK, there's this one, there's a US one, whatever it is, they have these, the most common types, and then you can use it. So always carry the right adapters for your electronic devices, just to make sure you have access to your power points, especially if you're a TEFL teacher on the move. So that's very important to you. You have access to your stuff, right? Your laptop. If you're working as a teacher, you need your laptop, right? You don't know how many times I've spoken to people who moved to a new country and they didn't think about this, and then they're like, oh, I can't charge my laptop because the plugs are different, the power plugs. I need to get a new charger. Takes a couple of days until you get it or you find one, and it's just a whole mess, and it can be avoided. You just get an adapter and it's fine, or you just research and then get the right kind. And maybe if you're lucky, they use the same one as in your country, and then you don't have to worry about it at all. But most of the time, just make sure you research that, because this is also a detail a lot of people might forget. And then adding on to that, so especially when you're traveling, you're in a hotel room or you're in a studio apartment, you're in a small place, this would be hack. Oh, hack number 4. And there are not many outlets. Always pack a power strip. So especially if you need a lot of electronic devices. So this is hack number 4. Pack a power strip. Okay. So carry a compact power strip with multiple outlets, because you might only have one adapter. Okay, so you can use your adapter with the power strip, or you get a power strip there and then you can use the different outlets. But a power strip is just very convenient. You can charge multiple devices simultaneously using just one single power adapter, and it makes it very convenient to keep your electronics powered up, especially in locations with limited power outlets. So a lot of hotel rooms, as you might know, or even your apartment, your teacher apartment, might not have that many outlets, especially a hotel room. Think about it. I always, most of the time when I'm in a hotel room, there's just never enough outlets. So it's really, really difficult to charge everything. You kind of have to manage what's higher priority to charge. When you have your camera, you have your phone, you have your laptop, you have all the other things, your batteries. I have a drone as well, so I have to charge that. It's a lot. So having a power strip with you is just very convenient. Also, when you travel, especially like if you travel longer term, for example, as a digital nomad, and you also work from there, you teach online from this place, having a power strip can just make a big difference. So that's my hack number 4. Pack a power strip. Then we have hack number 5. So this is the Wi-Fi section, and there's 2 hacks that kind of tie into that. So one is portable Wi-Fi. So you might not know this, but there's actually, they're also called sometimes pocket Wi-Fi, but you can invest in a portable Wi-Fi device or mobile data plans to stay connected, especially if you're a digital nomad or a frequent traveler. Just be cautious of roaming charges and location-based conditions. So what you can do, you can either buy your own and use that for whenever you travel. So basically what it is, it's a portable Wi-Fi device. So, and it sometimes works for multiple phones or multiple devices as well. So you have your pocket Wi-Fi and you can connect multiple devices to it. So you can connect your phone to it, you can connect your laptop to it, whatever. You need to research, though, how many devices you can connect to one device, one portable Wi-Fi thing. Sometimes only one is allowed, depends on the brand. What a lot of airports or countries are doing, you can actually pick up and rent a portable Wi-Fi device as well. This is what I've done in the past as well before. So you can already kind of reserve your portable Wi-Fi device in advance. And then when you arrive at your destination airport, you can pick it up. There will be like, usually it's like Telecom or whatever their the national telecom brand is. They would have like little booths at the airport, and you can pick it up from there. Or if you didn't have a reservation, you can just, I guess, if they have availability, you can get it from there as well directly after you arrive. And then there's typically different plans, so like a 3-day plan, a 7-day plan, 2-week plan, a whole month plan, different pricing. And then you have this portable Wi-Fi device. And sometimes, again, more than one device can use it. So if you travel with a friend or a partner, you could use it together and just be connected that way. That is hack number 5. I've used that before. Very convenient. Also, just you need to make sure that you need to charge this portable Wi-Fi device as well. So make sure you keep an eye on the battery life of the device as well. If it runs out of battery, you don't have any internet. So that's also one thing. That's why it's good to have a power strip so you can charge all of your devices again. See how it's all connected. If you don't want to get a portable device, because again, it's a device, right? It's about the size maybe as like this, depends, maybe like this size. So it's another thing that you have to have in your bag all the time, in your backpack, maybe heavy. So maybe it's not for everybody, right? If you don't travel with a lot of stuff, you don't want it, it's too bulky, you can opt for a SIM card, right? You can get a SIM card. Nowadays, again, at airports, when you travel, you see travel SIM cards. They will have this as an option, again, for different days, 3 days, 7 days, 10 days, a month, whatever. You can get a SIM card. Just put it in your phone, super easy. But this is also something I would recommend doing, obviously, when you move to your new country, your new host country as a TEFL teacher. Get a local SIM card, right? You don't want to use your SIM card from back home, it's too expensive. And a lot of times, actually, especially in Korea, having a Korean phone number, you will need your Korean phone number for a lot of things, to register a bank account, to do many things. It all ties in kind of with your phone number. So having a local phone number is often necessary, and you need to get a local SIM card. So get a local SIM card in your host country, and then maybe when you travel and you prefer a portable Wi-Fi device, do that. Or also get a travel SIM card in a different country when you travel. But yeah, instead of relying on expensive international roaming, definitely get a local SIM card, and this will just give you affordable access to data and calls, allowing you to stay connected without incurring hefty charges. So, and usually what my place of work did when I first arrived in Korea, they will help you get it. So they will go together to the local whatever phone SIM card shop and set this up for you. Someone from your school, when you move abroad, they will help you with things like that. They will also help you with setting up a bank account. Typically, you're not like thrown in cold water. There's usually someone there and help you. Pedro says SIM card is more convenient. Yeah, it depends. If you're like traveling with a friend and you want to save costs or split the costs, maybe a portable Wi-Fi device is a better idea. It just depends. Or if you bring another device like a laptop and you want that to have access to the internet as well. Yeah. Some people prefer the portable Wi-Fi device. Other people prefer a SIM card. They do the same thing, so definitely just depends on personal preference. All right, then we're jumping into hack number 7. Download offline maps. So this might be something you haven't even considered before. If you have, good on you. I actually haven't tried this. I tried it before. Something I haven't thought about before when I traveled, but I was in a situation where I should have done this, and then I think the next day, or as soon as I got to my hotel, I was like, oh, I need to download these offline maps. So basically what this means is just download offline maps or take screenshots of essential maps in case you don't have access to a reliable internet connection. And this can be crucial for navigating in a new country, right? Take screenshots. You never know. The internet connection in different countries varies. Even when you have a portable Wi-Fi device or you have a SIM card, sometimes you just don't have a connection. The Wi-Fi, the internet in different countries is maybe not what you're used to from back home, and you might have no signal. So then what do? If you're out and about and you're traveling, you're navigating where you need to go, you're screwed if you don't have offline maps. So I think on Google Maps, they do it as well. So typically map apps will allow you to download maps for like whole cities offline. So that means you don't have to be connected to the internet to use the maps and to navigate. So you can do that in advance. You need to do this though while you are connected to the internet. So make sure you kind of check it out when you're still in your hotel room where you have internet, or still back home in your country, and you download these offline maps so that whenever you are in a situation you don't have internet and you need to use your map, that you have it downloaded offline. And also this kind of ties into with the maps. Research which map services or which map apps are available in the country you are visiting, because some countries don't have Google Maps, they use other services, especially in Asian countries where I travel a lot. A lot of times Google Maps just doesn't work. This is the case, for example, in China. They use their own maps. In Korea, also Google Maps works, but not really well. So research that beforehand and make sure you get the right map and navigation app. A lot of cities will also have public transportation apps. So, for example, in Seoul, there's a Seoul subway map, which can be super useful. So you can type in, where you need to go, what station. It will show you exactly what subway line to take, where to transfer, etc., etc. So a lot of cities and countries do that. So research beforehand what kind of navigation apps, map apps you will need before you go, so you have it ready, downloaded on your phone, and it's working, it's the right one, and download offline maps as well, if that makes sense. All right, let me take or drink some more coffee here. All right, very good. Great, then moving on to hack number 8. Let's have a look. Oh, this is about finding cheap and last minute flights. So this hack is more for when you're already in your new country for traveling abroad. Most of the time, in many countries, actually your employer, the school, they will pay for your flight from your country to there a lot of times, depending on where you want to teach. Some countries don't, so you have to, pay for your own flight, but a lot of countries will pay the flight for their teachers, so you don't have to worry about that really because you don't pay for it. But this is more for like you're in your new country, you're ready to explore, maybe a school vacation is coming up or some public holidays and you want to go somewhere and explore, right? So always use flight comparison websites like Skyscanner or Kayak or Google Flights to quickly find great last minute deals, right? And one important hack as well, or with that, is to just stay flexible with your travel dates if you can. Of course, if there's set public holidays or set vacation times, you can't really be flexible. But if you're flexible, if you want to go this weekend, next weekend, the weekend after, it's also flexible. So stay flexible with your travel dates and also the times, and then you can get even lower fares on these flights. Also, a mistake a lot of people are making, for example, if you live in Korea, you would search for Incheon Airport, the biggest airport in Korea. Lots of flights, lots of connections. But sometimes if you explore smaller nearby airports, you actually can save. You could actually save a little bit of money, a little bit more money. So there's actually a couple of airports, like in Korea, for example, that are smaller, that also fly to really good destinations. And you can check that out and save. And just be open to spontaneous adventures and set fare alerts for your preferred destinations. That's also a really good idea. I used to use Skyscanner a lot, and they have fare alerts. So you could put in like, I want to go to wherever, Cambodia, for a week. Give me an alert when the price is the lowest for the flight. And then it would send you an email as soon as the price decreased. Another hack also with finding cheap flights is to use the incognito mode on your browser. So it doesn't track your IP address. It doesn't track who you are on the internet, basically. Or you can also use a VPN to change your IP address. Because what happens is the more you look up flights, let's say you look up flights, every day you look up flights, okay, with your laptop, with your computer, that flight website, the flight comparison website, will recognize you and will know, oh, you already looked at this flight before, you looked at this flight before. And it'll show you higher prices, basically, because it knows you're interested and you want to go there. So it shows you higher prices until you book it. But if you switch to incognito mode or a VPN to disguise your IP address, they don't know who you are. They don't know you've searched this before, and they typically show you a lower price. So that's kind of what a lot of people are saying and how it usually works. So keep that in mind, and maybe next time use your incognito mode or a VPN if you have one, just to get the best deal for your flight. And maybe another thing with flights, I know this from Korea, there's public holidays. I know this is the case also in Japan and in China, where they have these big public holidays, right? Where everybody travels. Well, sometimes that also means that you have to pay the highest prices for the flights, for the trains, and all of that. And you have to be very quick with making your reservations. So, if you live in a place like this where they have these huge public holidays where like the whole country is on the move, literally, maybe avoid these days to travel and just stay in your town and your city and explore there. Because typically then there will be less people around as well. A lot of people are doing that in Seoul when it's the holidays, and people who work in Seoul actually go out of Seoul and go to their hometowns. A lot of people will then a lot of expats who live in Seoul kind of enjoy that a lot more, because Seoul is a lot less crowded and they can enjoy the attractions more when it's less crowded, when all of these locals are kind of out of the city. So that's another thing to keep in mind, if you can be flexible. But of course, as a teacher, if you have your set hours and your contract and your set holidays, school holidays and things like that, you might not be that flexible. But if you're a freelance teacher, an online teacher, you can schedule that way, perhaps. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. Good. Okay, so then we're moving into hack number 9, which is mitigate jet lag. So how can you mitigate jet lag? There's actually a couple of things you can do, because jet lag is annoying, especially when you travel very far. And then depending on which direction you go, east or west, or north or south, whatever. Well, north or south actually doesn't really matter much, right? But wherever you're going, however long the flight is, you might lose a whole day or two, right? Due to jet lag, you're just tired, you need to sleep, etc., etc. Which, isn't too bad, but there's a few things you can do to just make it better so that you don't lose that many days. So a great way to do this to mitigate jet lag is to gradually shift your schedule already before the trip to ease the jet lag effects. I actually have not tried this, to be honest, because I think it's really difficult to do. We all have our schedule, right? But if you can, try and just gradually, maybe a week before your trip, try and gradually already switch your sleeping habits, maybe to adjust to the new time. That might help a little bit. What a lot of people are also saying helps is using light therapy classes. You can sync with the new time zone. So I've actually seen this. I have not used this myself. I really want to. But there's people wearing these light therapy glasses on the airplane. I think they're like blue light or something like that. You can Google this. You can see them there. You get a pair. And apparently they work, apparently. So I think that's really great. I would love to try this. But of course, they're not that cheap, I think. So if you don't want to buy that, and if you don't have time to gradually switch your schedule, what you can do that also helps a lot is drinking lots of water. During your trip, before your trip, just getting hydrated will really, really help. I always notice this when I travel, when I'm on an airplane. The air is so dry. My whole face, my whole skin just dries out. And so if you drink a lot of water, that will also help with jet lag. You should skip caffeine and alcohol just to prevent dehydration, because caffeine and alcohol, they dehydrate you and also give you sleep disruption. Now, for a lot of people, they like having a glass of wine or two on the plane and then they can sleep well. I don't think that works for me, but might work for you. And then if all else fails, you can always consider melatonin with professional guidance to regulate your sleep. So these are like sleeping aids, sleeping pills. I've also done that before on an airplane. You just pop a pill and then you can sleep really, really well as well. Normally, I actually sleep really well on an airplane. I can always sleep, but there's people who just cannot sleep on airplanes. So if you're one of those people, follow these steps, then maybe it's worth investing in one of these classes, or it's worth, gradually shifting your schedule beforehand. If you really can't sleep and it just destroys you after and you're really dead for like a week, then you might just need to do a little bit more preparing beforehand to mitigate the jet lag. so you can enjoy your trip. All right, perfect. I think that's it for hack number 9. And then we're moving on to hack number 10, which is don't change currency at the airport. A lot of people do this, right? Especially first-time travelers, I think. You just go to the airport. When you arrive there, you exchange, or in your local airport, you exchange the currency for the other currency. Just avoid doing that. I know there's these currency exchange booths everywhere, and it's like, why not use them? Why not? That's why they're there for. But they usually just have really, really hefty extra fees and unfavorable exchange rates. They're just too expensive. So instead, what you can do is you can either from your home country get a travel debit card that offers favorable exchange rates. I used to have one like that was really good. Or what I typically do, because nowadays, in this global world, it typically works everywhere. I have my local debit card that I can then use at ATMs when I travel and just get money out that way. And the exchange rate is a lot better when you use that card. You just go to the ATM and get the money straight out in local currency. Pedro said, this is the lesson I learned in my last trip. It was really bad. Oh, what happened? Tell us what happened with the currency exchange. Pedro, I'm sorry to hear that. Tell us what happened. And then what will you do differently now? Let us know. So I always do that, or bring a credit card and just try and pay as much as you can with your credit card and have a little bit of cash. But I always use my debit card at local ATMs. You just make sure you call your bank or you visit your bank before your trip and tell them that you're going to this and this country, and if you can use the card at a local ATM. So my debit card has a MasterCard sign on it, and that means that it works apparently. But yeah, make sure that your debit card has this function, can do that. And then also another hack for when you're teaching abroad, when you're living abroad and you want to, let's say you want to send money back home, or somebody from home wants to send you money, typically bank transfers from, like, for example, a US bank to a Korean bank is very expensive, right? So there's a lot of services nowadays like Wise or also PayPal, but I think nowadays Wise is even better, where you can send money online in seconds, and the fees are very, very small, very favorable. So a lot of people are doing that. Use services like Wise or PayPal to kind of send money back home or from home to you, to your new country. That's a very easy way. I've been using Wise now for a while. I really, really enjoy it. I've used PayPal before. I like Wise a lot more now than PayPal, so it's super easy. You can set up a virtual online account in different countries and different currencies. For example, you have a virtual US bank account, or a virtual German bank account, or a virtual Korean bank account. And so it's very easy to transfer money there. Very minimal fees, so I recommend doing that. Because the worst thing, you know, your hard-earned money, and you don't want to lose a lot of it by paying these ridiculous exchange rates and fees, right? We all work hard for our money, so it's important that we keep most of it. Okay, then moving on to hack number 11, which is bringing a first aid kit. Also something a lot of people don't think about. Number 1, a first aid kit for when you move abroad to your new country, and also when you travel. So let's talk about that in a second. But Pedro says, with the currency exchange, so I did some currency exchange and the rate was unfavorable. What I do now is that I go to the local bank to get exchanged prior to my trip. That's another good tip. Yeah, you can do that too. You can go to your local bank. Instead of at the airport, you'll also get a better rate there. That's true. Well, I'm glad you learned your lesson, Pedro. I'm sorry you had to learn it the hard way, though. Okay, so back to our first aid kit. So always have sort of a first aid travel kit when you're traveling. And it should include like basic supplies like bandages, antiseptics, medications like pain relievers, right? Or something for diarrhea is always very important depending on what part of the world you travel to, right? Personal care items, wet wipes, sunscreen. Sunscreen actually can be very expensive in different countries, I've noticed. So I always bring my own as well. Emergency contacts, also in first aid manual, how to do things. And then just personalized items. So if you need an EpiPen, for example, also make sure for when you're traveling, or when you're moving abroad, for us girls, that you have your birth control. You can go to your doctor and tell him, hey, I'm moving there and there for a year, and they can give you a bigger stash of your birth control so you can have it, or also things like contact lenses, that you have that with you. That's very important. Make sure you arrange that beforehand. Yeah, it's just always better to be prepared for unexpected medical situations, and it can save you the trouble of trying to obtain supplies in a foreign place with potential language barriers. And sometimes, depending on the country, the medicine might just not be the same standard as you're used to back home. Or, I'm just used to the painkillers and things that I use from back home. I don't really trust anything that I don't know, so it's just better to have like your own stash. For things like bandages, of course, like you can just go to a local pharmacy and get bandages. I don't think that that's a problem, right, for these basic things. Antiseptics as well, so maybe the basic things you can get anywhere. But if you really are in an emergency, you want to have all of that stuff already with you. That just saves you time. Because then you have to find a pharmacy and maybe it's closed and whatnot, and yeah, language barrier, etc. So yeah, bring a first aid kit and stock up on those important things. Yeah, if you have allergies, birth control, contact lenses, EpiPens, all of those things, make sure you have a stash of those before you move abroad, because then when you are abroad, you have time to kind of find out how to get refills, and you don't need them right away. You still have some time. So yeah, hack number 11, bring a first aid kit. All right, hack number 12, and this is kind of depends on everyone's different, but it's preventing travel boredom. Okay, so if you're somebody who's just sitting on the airplane kind of playing with their fingers or whatever, playing with their thumbs and don't know what to do, and time just won't go by, make sure you prepare beforehand, so you have something to keep yourself occupied with. A lot of people like to make the most of their travel downtime by staying productive and engaged. So you could review and deepen your understanding of teaching materials, right? From your TEFL course, you could review that when you move abroad to teach. Just kind of get back into it. You can always prepare for upcoming lessons, making your classroom time more effective. Another thing, you can listen to TEFL podcasts for professional development while you travel as well. Or what I also really like to do is learning some essential local phrases and expressions. You can do that as well on the plane, or whatever. You can watch movies, of course, but sometimes that gets boring real quick as well. So if you really want to stay productive and engaged, you can just follow these things. Review your TEFL course material, listen to a podcast like the ITTT podcast. We do have a podcast. I mentioned this earlier, but we always turn our live sessions into podcast episodes. Yeah, Red Pursuit says, watch movies on the phone or laptop. Yes. Yeah, so some airplanes, they actually have a really bad entertainment section. They have really bad movies in them. So if you have a favorite movie, a favorite show or something, you want to make sure you download it onto your phone beforehand, onto your laptop beforehand, or if you want to play a game or something like that, make sure you have that on your phone. Make sure it works offline as well, so that you're not bored while you travel, basically. But again, this is personal preference, however you want to keep yourself entertained, different ways to do that. Then we have hack number 13, also very important, and also a lot of people don't think about this, but it is getting the right travel insurance. So some countries, they provide insurance during your stay as an EFL teacher, but this does not include other travel destinations, right? So when you move abroad to, let's say you move abroad to Korea, you move abroad to Japan, wherever, you typically get local health insurance as part of your teaching contract, right? Of your work. But it doesn't cover other places. If you leave Korea or if you leave Japan, that doesn't count as travel insurance. So in this case, you want to invest in comprehensive travel insurance that covers medical emergencies, trip cancellations, and also lost or stolen belongings. It's just, as a TEFL teacher, having that reliable insurance can offer a peace of mind and also financial protection. And I never really thought about travel insurance before when I was younger, but it's something I now always get when I travel, because you never know what happens. You never know what, especially I feel like we always say this nowadays, but in today's state of the world, you never know what happens, and then you need travel insurance. You need to, get transported back home, God forbid, or something like that. Just, you never know what happens, or something gets stolen. I once traveled with somebody on the train in China and their laptop was stolen, things like that. And if you insure that, you can get your money back or part of the money back. So always do that. Always make sure you get travel insurance. And if you have to go to a hospital back home, you keep, or in your travel destination, keep the receipts of everything, have them issued, if possible, in English, and then you can provide that to the insurance and you can get the money back later. So that's also very important. Always keep receipts of these important things, especially things like medical, hospital visits, things like that. You can then claim that at your insurance later. So yeah, hack number 13, always get travel insurance. Very important. Worth it, because it's your health, it's your body. Make sure you have it. Hack number 14, language learning apps. So it's always useful to learn a little bit of the language of the country that you're moving to or also traveling to. Especially just saying please and thank you can just go such a long way. And luckily in today's day and age, there's so many easy ways to learn a new language. And just by downloading a language learning app specific to your destination's language, you can easily just learn some basic words and phrases that will really make a difference and, get you closer to the locals and connect with the culture and things like that. Like I said, even basic phrases, they can really go a long way in connecting with the locals and just navigating day-to-day life in foreign countries. If you want to do even more learning, you can take online lessons before your trip. I did that at the beginning of the year for a trip to Japan. I took a couple of Japanese lessons with a teacher one-on-one online, and it was really great. I was able to use these phrases when I was in Japan. I was able to read some Japanese. I was so proud of myself. And it's just a whole different feeling when you travel, because you actually understand a little bit of the country, of the culture. It's great. I love it. And especially when you venture outside of bigger cities where people might not speak English that well, when you can order food, when you can buy something in the local language, it's so helpful for you, but also, just nice to connect with the locals. And it's just a whole different way of traveling when you're able to speak that language, even if it's just a little bit. It just helps. It goes such a long way. So I really recommend it. Right now, I'm still learning Japanese with Duolingo, for example. That's a very popular language learning app. All free as well. They have a premium plan, of course, but they have a free plan. It's really good, where you actually really learn something. So pick it up. It's super useful. I recommend it. It's a lot of fun as well. And then finally, the last hack number 15, travel as light as possible. It's also something I need to kind of get better at. But whenever possible, travel with just a carry-on to avoid checked baggage fees and reduce the risk of losing your luggage. Of course, if you're checked bag is already included in your ticket price, there's no problem. There's no harm in doing that, right? But most of the time, if you use different airlines, you have to pay for every single bag, every single thing you bring onto the plane. It's more expensive. So if you just travel as light as possible with just a carry-on, um, is usually cheaper. It also saves you time at the airport since you don't have to wait at the baggage claim. You can just go out. And just always pack efficiently and try and mix and match clothing items to create various outfits during your trip. We've all seen this maybe on Pinterest, on TikTok, all these different things. You can combine these clothing items to create different outfits. I'm also not very good at it, to be honest. So I need to get better at traveling as light as possible. Sometimes it's really hard, but sometimes you just have to. And yeah. Also keep in mind that if you're traveling to a place and you're staying there for a long time, you can buy new things there, and you can always wash your clothes, right? Even I did a backpacking trip through Thailand once for 3 to 4 weeks, and I think halfway through the trip, we just went to a local laundromat and washed our stuff. So you can always do that, and wash your stuff and get clean clothes again. That's always an option. And especially me, I travel a lot alone, and then having too many bags is a problem. It can get very heavy if you're just one person. So that's also a reason why you should travel as light as possible. Or you invest in one of these really good backpacking backpacks. That's another thing. You can always travel by backpack. That can be another hack and useful for traveling as light as possible. So these are my hacks, just something to keep in mind. I hope maybe you learned something new along the way. But here's just a quick recap of all the things we mentioned, all the things we talked about. So we talked about making copies, physical, actual copies, and digital copies of important documents. Very important, your passport, your visa, all of that. Make copies of it, store it on the cloud, but also have actual copies of it with you when you travel. Then be aware of the 100 milliliter rule for liquids. If there's anything that's over 100 milliliters in your hand luggage, you have to give it up. You have to throw it away. Bring the right travel adapters. Just research what power outlets, what power plugs they use in the country that you're visiting. It might be different than your country, so you just want to be prepared. And then also pack a power strip, so you can charge multiple devices. A lot of hotel rooms, they come just with 1 or 2 power plugs. Not enough to charge all of your camera, your laptop, your phone, your drone, whatever you have. I have a lot of stuff. So I definitely need to do that. Get portable Wi-Fi or a local SIM card when you travel so you are connected. Don't use the data from your home country. Typically, that's very expensive, right? Get portable Wi-Fi or a local SIM card in the other country, so it's cheaper. Download offline maps so you can navigate even if you don't have any internet. There's an emergency, you can still use your maps offline. Find cheap and last-minute flights with the tips that I gave you, and also mitigate jet lag when you can. If you know that you're having a hard time with jet lag, if you know that you can't really sleep on an airplane, you might follow these steps, right? It will help you. Don't change currency at the airport. The fees are too high. The exchange rate is crazy. So either do it at your local bank, as Pedro suggested, or just get money from the ATM there. Make sure your card can do that. Your card works. Use a credit card. But just don't exchange money at the airport. Bring a first aid kit. Make sure you have all of your necessary medications. If you have any allergies, birth control, contact lenses, things like that, you have your stash with you. Prevent travel boredom, so make sure you have your entertainment for when you travel. Get the right travel insurance, very important. Get travel insurance, and then make sure there's so many different kinds of travel insurance. There's one that just works for you. Maybe it covers your phone, it covers your expensive camera, things like that. Use language learning apps. I always really recommend that. Like I said, knowing just please and thank you and hello and goodbye can make a big difference for your trip. And lastly, travel as light as possible when you can to avoid any additional fees. And also for yourself, if you're traveling alone and you have like a bunch of bags, it's very difficult sometimes to get from one place to another. So these are my 15 travel hacks for TEFL teachers, traveling TEFL teachers. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you learned something new today. And then just some information how you can find out, how you can reach ITTT. Oh, and there's a spelling mistake in general. Of course, that's just one N here, general information. You can always email us at courses@tcl-tefl.com. And again, our website is teflcourse.net. And this is how you can reach us on social media. But whenever you have any questions about TEFL TESOL, our courses, reach out. We're more than happy to speak with you. Courses@tcl-tefl.com. And then I'll be able to answer some questions that you might have about today's topic or about anything else related to TEFL or TESOL. If you have any, now is a great time to ask. And again, you have this 30% off discount code, so you can scan this QR code or you can use the link. I'm just going to share the link again with you. Let's see. Oh, I think I shared the wrong link earlier, but it also has the discount code on it. Oh. No, we still want to see the slide. Okay. So let's see. This is the correct link, the apply link. All right, I'm going to share that again with you guys. 30% off. Here we go. This is the link. Looks like this. Ends with FB Live minus Linda. This will get you a 30% discount off of any TEFL or TESOL course from ITTT. So you can get started with your English teaching career. And yeah. If you have any questions, I'll still be on for a couple more minutes to answer them. So let me know. Don't be shy. Type away in the comments, and I'll just finish my coffee real quick. And does anybody have any trips coming up and planned? Maybe you can use some of these travel hacks. Let me know in the comments. Where are you going? What's your next upcoming trip? I'm curious. Let me know. And then just, as always, like and subscribe. Stay tuned for next week's live session. If you have any topic suggestions and ideas, let me know. I'm always looking for new, ideas, what to talk about. So let me know if there's something you want me to really talk about next week. Teaching related, TEFL, TESOL related, let me know, and I will do that. But yeah. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I did. It was fun. Makes me want to go on a trip now. Really makes me want to travel. Maybe I need to check out some flights after this and book a trip. Also, if you're watching this later or as a replay, you can always leave your comments below and then we'll get back to it later as well. Okay, Pedro says, I enjoyed your suggestion about travel hacks. I'm traveling to Peru and Ecuador in December. I am so jealous, Pedro. Peru has been on my list forever, since I was a teenager. I don't know. I've always been fascinated by Peru. Really want to go to Peru. So I'm really jealous. I really want to go too. Is December a good time to go to Peru? Need to search. So I really, really, really want to go to Peru as well. All right. Ray says, is online teaching getting oversaturated? Just curious, and your opinion. That's a great question. I would say no. I know it's getting super popular and big, but it's also because so many new platforms are also popping up. And the more platforms are popping up, of course, because the demand is also growing, especially since COVID and everybody took lessons from home and things like that. there was really a huge boom, and it's continuing until now. There's a huge boom, and so more and more online platforms are popping up because the demand is also high, and then they also need more teachers. So I don't think it's getting oversaturated. um, there's still opportunities. Maybe like the big, really big platforms. Sometimes you see that when you apply for, at one of the big platforms, that they don't hire any teachers who speak a certain language at the moment because they have enough. That can happen. But I don't think it's getting oversaturated. We're not there yet. I think the demand is still very, very high. And that's why a lot of online teachers are still working and getting hired. So I don't think it's getting oversaturated right now. Still very popular, a good field to get into, I would say. Okay, Pedro says yes. So Peru is, or December is a good time to go there. Interesting. Maybe one day I'll go to Peru. Great. Well, I hope you have a wonderful time there, Pedro. You need to tell me all about it in December, after December. Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much for the questions. If there's no more coming through, I am going to sign off now. I really enjoyed today's session. I hope you did too. Maybe you learned something new today, or, it was just interesting to watch. Please tune in again next week. If you have any suggestions, let me know. And until then, just stay happy, stay healthy, and I'm excited to see you again next week. I really hope I do. And thank you again so much, and have a wonderful weekend. And then I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you all. Bye.